We should never forget, in talking about all of this Liberal Party internal machinations, that the government is a coalition of which the National Party plays a very important role, and the leader of the National Party is the Deputy Prime Minister.
It is difficult to describe how much I'm looking forward to having Barnaby back.
At the start, Turnbull and I got along splendidly. I was a sort of a crucial part of Malcolm's Praetorian Guard. And my job was to keep an eye out and keep him informed about who was likely to try and take his job, and to try as much as I can in any way, even if it was clandestine, to stop them. But I protected him, I really did.
They got on well, even though they were not natural soulmates, but obviously that relationship soured over time.
What one word springs to mind when I say Barnaby Joyce?
Apoplectic.
And I suppose the kicker to all of that is that in the last few years we've also seen...
Well, there had been rumours about him having a very close relationship with one of his staff. A former journalist called Vicky Campion. I asked him to come round and he absolutely unequivocally denied there was any sexual relationship between him and Vicky. And I accepted that, of course.
You know, I think I definitely lied to him, because it wasn't his right to know. How many other people in this building are you asking about their personal lives? So, you know, we all know, what happens. I can nominate a few. Where do you want to start?
The public and private worlds of the Deputy Prime Minister have collided in a blaze of attention. A newspaper has exposed how Barnaby Joyce had an affair with a staff member who is now pregnant.
Well, when that picture emerged in the Telegraph, my first reaction was to feel very, very sorry for Vicky Campion. But there it was, and it was a political reality that we had to deal with.
It was a nightmare. It was a total nightmare. And I had to try and keep it together. I've never been under more pressure than that, and it was coming at both of us from every direction. You know, we had them shooting in front of us, beside us and behind us, and they were going for the head.
The Leader of the Opposition.
My question is to the Prime Minister.
I was very concerned that we were going to get caught up in this, in what was becoming just a torrent of media criticism, public criticism about this affair of Barnaby's. And I was concerned that there wasn't a clear sense among my colleagues that this was wrong. So I thought, well, we should spell it out. And that's why I crafted the changes to the ministerial code.
Good afternoon.
And then this person goes and gives this press conference.
Barnaby made a shocking error of judgment in having an affair with a young woman working in his office. In doing so, he has set off a world of woe for those women and appalled all of us.
Yeah, you know, you really got to restrain yourself, and, you know, in my previous life, I'd been a bouncer in a pub, and I was very close to returning to that field of endeavour, because I was thinking, yes, you can't do stuff like that, mate.
So you were prepared potentially to give the Prime Minister a knock on the face?
I just didn't see him as Prime Minister then. I just saw him as an idiot.
But look, again.
Malcolm's words were pointed, they were deliberate, and for the National Party to have the Liberal Party Prime Minister essentially sack our leader was incredibly concerning and very shocking.
Looking back at it, I think it's a fair criticism to say that I was somewhat harsher in the criticism than I needed to be. But this is a very fine judgment.
Marriage breakups are dreadful. But to do it, to have it, to experience it in the full glare of the spotlight.
Oh, it hurts. I mean, it's just so disingenuous. It is private, Malcolm. And so what on earth are you doing at the door of the Prime Minister's office, giving a public disclosure and discourse about another person's private life? You're doing this for your own personal gain. Shithead.
Has visited on his wife, Natalie, and their daughters, and indeed his new partner.
Well, it's interesting, you got me to say that I thought I might have gone a bit far. Just looking at it again, I think it's about right, to be honest.
Thank you very much.
And then I immediately leave the room and go around and confront him about it.
Tell me about that.
I walked around, and as I walked into the room, Scott Morrison walked out. And I strongly believe it was a plan by Morrison to get rid of me. I think he was the instigator of the bomb ban. I think Turnbull was the narrator of it, and Morrison was the architect of it. And if that's not the case, then someone should say so.
No, that's nonsense. It was Malcolm's idea, but I can tell you what, he had a very enthusiastic supporter in me around that table. Malcolm, as a Prime Minister, calling this out and saying that ministers should not have inappropriate relationships with their staff, to me, seemed like a pretty sensible thing to do. Barnaby, I think, was under an enormous amount of strain in his personal life, and then his professional life collapsed as a result. And you look for people to blame.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Barnaby Joyce, has been hit by an accusation of sexual harassment.
Barnaby refuted those claims. Who knows? But that, obviously, with those rumours swirling around on top of the difficulty with Malcolm, that all led a combination of Barnaby going up on top of the hill at Tamworth and resigning.
Over the last half a month, there's been a litany of allegations. I don't believe any of them have been sustained. On Monday morning at the party room, I will step down as the leader of the National Party and Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. Okay, thanks, guys.
Barnaby Joyce told me that with him gone now, you'd lost your chief Praetorian Guard and that he knew you'd be deposed within months.
Well, Barnaby made it pretty clear that he was going to do as much as he could to take revenge.
The Prime Minister needs strong lieutenants or you don't survive. And when one of your lieutenants actually wants your job and your other lieutenants sort of don't like you and you get rid of your 2 IC, you're vulnerable and you're going to go.
When you have totemic figures such as Tony Abbott and Barnaby outside the tent with grievance, policy difference and ambition, then that's likely to lead to conflict.
Ultimately, the 2 Riverview old boys, St Ignatius old boys, Barnaby Joyce and Tony Abbott, were on the same team, and that's problematic.